All right, Shola here, story time. And in this quick document, don't create video, I'm going to show you how you can leverage a early Saturday morning conversation that I had to help you identify the one thing in your business that'll make everything else easier or unnecessary to even do. Let me say that again. The one thing that will make everything else easier or unnecessary to do. And here's a spoiler alert, it is not money and it is not time. You have to go one level deep. All right, so let me just walk through some of the tools that I use. Voice dictation app on the desktop. It can either be Mac or it can be your Windows computer. Google Docs, which is literally the doc that you're looking at here. All right, Chat GPT 4 plus the add-on diagrams show me. WhatsApp for desktop, which is a very powerful communication tool that we could talk about later, and also ScreenPal's YouTube upload plugin that literally is going to let me, after I hit the stop on the record button, to automatically upload this to YouTube, making the whole job of producing a piece of content plus distributing it on a mass network, a mass traffic source, super easy to do. All right, so let me just talk to you what happened. I woke up this morning, put some tea on, and immediately had a great idea that I wanted to share with my mastermind group. Tip, if you don't have a WhatsApp mastermind group where you can share ideas in the middle of the night, early morning inspirations, etc., you want to get one. So let me just read through this. I said I had a burst of brilliance this morning, if I may be so bold. And I said I'm directing all of my attention on the one thing, and I invite you too, super friends, for 100 days, hat tip to Alex Hormozy's rule of 100. And I said, even when I plan my summer travel plans, I'm going to put everything through the filter. Does this help me do more or less of the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? All right. So let me just break down what that would look like. Now, the first thing is, as I said, literally this whole process could be turned into a 2-hour video creation process, but literally this is a process that I'm showing you that if you execute is going to be highly effective. And this is definitely what happens on a day-to-day basis. Literally, you have conversations with your hive mind social circle, and you can create value by simply sharing it with others. Okay, so once I thought through this step 1, step 2, step process, I came back. I said, edit. Oh my God, let me document these steps, and then use Chat GPT's generative AI plugin to create a process map, and then just quickly hit record on ScreenPal and share it with others so they could look at it. All right, so literally this is the process. The first step is you ask yourself the one thing question. All right, now for a lot of people, the one thing that can make things easier is money, but the reason why I say go one level deep is because how do you get money, right? If you're in a business, the way you get money is more revenue. All right, and so how do you get more revenue? You have to break that down 3 levels deep: traffic time conversions times average order value. All right, so if you're looking at this, you're like, the one thing I need is more revenue, more growth in my business, then really what you're saying is that the one thing you need is to get to do more activities that generate traffic, that generate more conversions, that generate a higher average order value, or AOV. Now, if you're for some people, you're already there. And you might, for other people, this is a revelation in and of itself, that your daily activity should be strategically and deliberately focused on the highest leverage activities that get you more traffic, higher conversions, and average order value. But you're already there yet, a little bit more advanced. Then the question that you need to ask yourself is, okay, what is my 80-20 based on my strengths of getting more traffic, average order value, and conversions? Or you might find that you have enough growth, but maybe you're just procrastinating. And so there's some brain defogging, if you will, that you need to do. Okay, that's your one thing. The whole point is that the first step in the process is to do some ideation through talking to your mastermind partners, people that you can brainstorm with through ChatGPT. You can easily go into ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Inflection's Pi AI and ask the question, what is the one thing I can do for insert description of your business that'll make everything else easier and more effective? And then you'll get a list of things. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Once you have literally, for most people, they don't even ask themselves this question. So they're doing a whole bunch of things that are not the highest leverage. And when I say high leverage, I just mean the few things, the few inputs that yield disproportionate outputs, right? The hinge that swings, a small hinge that swings a big door, okay? Just figuring that out is hugely important because that can serve as a filter for what you do and what you don't do. But once you get that literal list of activities you should be doing, then the next step is you have to turn that into a daily workflow. And what does that look like? In comes Jaron Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, where he talks about creating what we call a weekly register. And this weekly register is just a list of behaviors, activities, habits, okay, that if your day just consists of listing these activities that are tied to your highest leverage work, right? And then focusing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even if you work Saturday, Sunday, or maybe you don't work Saturday, Sunday, you work Saturday, Sunday, you don't work 2 days throughout the week. It doesn't matter when you do it. The whole point is that step one is that you've made a list of those one thing activities. And then step two is the actual execution where you track the doing of these activities. See, if you don't do, everybody can get that if you don't do your cardio, right? Or if you don't eat healthy foods, you're not going to get the output of a healthy body. Everybody can get that if you don't, let's say, read your textbook. If you're in college, you're not going to get the output of good grades, all right? But most people have not sat down and said, what are the relative to my strengths and weaknesses, what are the specific traffic generation, conversion generation, and average order value expanding or generation or increasing activities that I need to be doing, right? Step one, and then step two, putting them on a list, and then step three, tracking them, all right? And so what I want to invite you to do is, again, use the resources that I just described to you. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini or Bard, you can use Claude AI, you can use Inflection's Pi AI, even within WhatsApp. I have conversations with Pi AI daily in WhatsApp, right? Almost as if I'm talking to a friend when I need some tips. And so when you use AI for ideation, which I do, it would be more than 100 times a year. If I do it twice a week, that's over 100 times a year. I really do it 3 times a week. So 150 times a year. Imagine having an employee with an IQ of Einstein that you can brainstorm with, going about doing research and giving you ideas and strategies. So once you get that list of high leverage activities, the next step is you must track. The reason why you'll track is that you'll see that oftentimes you get distracted and it feels like you've done a lot of work, but then you look at this list and few of the things on the list have been done. And here's something else. The math of it makes a lot of sense, right? Because the whole point is if your goal is to do X number of these activities, let's say a week, and you fall short, then that means you're either net positive or negative, which means that you have to do more or less the next week. It's just like if you say you wanted to get from one city to the other and it's 1,000 miles away and you want to get there in 10 days, then that means you would have to do 100 miles a day. And if you fell short on one day, you would just have to do more on the other. And so the reason why it's so important, this is, if you want to get fancy, called deviation analysis and diagnostic analytics. If you want to get to a certain place, then you have to chart how much of that activity you're doing on a daily basis. And if you fall short, you got to do more of one on the next day. But the good news is if you did more of one today, then you can ease up and do a little bit less the next day and still be on target, right? So what I did to create this actual graphic is literally inside of ChatGPT. You can look for a plugin that's called Diagram Show Me. And literally what I did is copy and pasted this conversation from WhatsApp and asked it to create a diagram that is super easy to use to update this. In fact, I'll see if I can just grab a link, upload this to Google Docs, and then grab a link and share it in the comment section so you can download this. But this 3-step process works, right? For anything. Step 1 is just define the one thing. Always go at least one level deep, because most people are stuck at the level of, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or I don't have the know-how. Well, you have to go one level deep for that. If you're in business, the answer to getting more money is revenue, okay? We can talk about profit later, because we're assuming that you are, you don't have reasonable margins, but the reality situation is, all things being equal, you need more top line revenue in many instances, and that means getting more traffic, more conversions, and increasing how much each person spends per new order, which is what average order value is. All right. And then once you figure out what that one thing is, then you have to align your daily activities and habits and workflow to doing those high value activities. And that's where Darren Hardy's daily rhythm tracker goes in. You can just Google that and find that, right? And then this is your daily scorecard. This defines if the day was successful or not. And you don't have to have a gazillion items on here. Maybe you track 3 to 7. And also, too, you can do it, hat tip, for other areas of your life, like relationships or health, right? Like if you say you want stronger relationships meant deeper interactions with people, then on your daily rhythm chart, it might say something like reach out to a friend at least once a day and ask them how they're doing, all right? Or reach out to a friend twice a week. So that would equal 100 times a year, asking them, how can I support you? So there's a way to look at each kind of cornerstone of your life pillar, not just business, but also health, wealth, relationship, your passions and your hobbies. Create a high value / high leverage list of activities and track it on a daily basis. I actually use my execution or accountability coach to support me in making sure that I stay focused on these activities, because it can be surprisingly hard to stay focused on these high leverage activities, and then you do them. And if you do these activities, there's no way you'll be even 3 or 6 months from now where you are today. It's just like if you decided that you wanted to write a 100,000 word book, right? And part of your weekly rhythm was to write 1,000 words a day, then in 100 days, you would have that 100,000 word book, right? Because on this list of activities was a high leverage, totally focused input or workflow that will get you to where you want. So just to summarize everything, literally what happened, step 1 is I had a conversation in WhatsApp. Step 2, I was like, oh my God, let me document this and share it with people. Step 3 is I use ChatGPT and the add-on diagram app to come up with a visual, because frameworks communicated in visuals are really helpful for the mind to process. All right. And then step 4 is literally, I'm going to hit stop on this video, and then I'm going to upload this to YouTube with ScreenPad, which is a free tools YouTube upload plugin. And then every time I want to think through this process of finding what the highest leverage activities are, creating a workflow around those highest leverage activities, and then tracking in a scorecard type of fashion of progress, I can take this video and show it to people. If anyone asks me kind of what's your secret to getting more things done that other people do with consistency and focus, instead of trying to have this same conversation with people 1,000 times, I can direct them to YouTube, which is almost like a library of your the process that you're going through, your workflows, all right? And you can share it with people internally and externally, all right? So I hope this is helpful to you. This is Shola. Take care, take action. Make yourself in Google Sheets or whatever tool you want, Notion, whatever tool you want. It could be pen and paper on a notebook in physical form, iPad, whatever. Just make a list of these highest leverage activities, chart them, scorecard them every day, and you will see that if you commit to these activities and you track it, because what gets measured gets managed better, you will get the results that you want. Take care, take action.